Welcome to another episode of Torqued. My name's Clarence Craig, and we've got another project for today. We're gonna head out to the barn to start that project. We can't be all like my wife, who's outside lounging in a lounge chair. So we've got work to do, and let's go out to the barn. All right, welcome to the barn. I know the barn looks a little bit messy today. It's been messy for about a week now. We've been working on so many different pieces for the Chevelle, but we're just gonna march on, continue on, go on to the next piece. So back in 2003, I used to have a 1971 Chevelle that I completely went through, made it into a show car. I'll post some pictures on this video so you can see the way it turned out. But anyway, one of the features that I loved about it is that I bought a Rock Valley stainless gas tank. I actually polished it by hand. It was a pain in the butt. It took me a long time to do. And this is for my two friends out there, Kevin and Rick. I'm about to do the same thing. So I just recently received my Rick's fuel tank. It's a fabricated stainless steel fuel tank. It's a beautiful item. So what I'm going to attempt to do today is I'm going to attempt to sand it and then polish it. It's going to be a little time consuming, but I want it to turn out just like a mirror. So give me a few minutes and we'll get started. Okay, first we're going to start sanding the tank. We have to try and get some of the grain out of the stainless steel. That's what's really time consuming. But one thing that we're not going to do, Rick and Kevin, is we are not going to sand and polish the top of the tank. So I'll try and give you a closer view of the tank, and you can see the grain in the stainless steel itself. I've tried to hit it with some 600 grit sandpaper, but it's really not doing too much. So I'm gonna have to go down to about 320, I believe. We'll try it at 320, see if it can cut into it and try and smooth everything out. So let's get sanding. Well, I jumped down to 220 grit sandpaper trying to get all the grain out. Of course it wouldn't come out. Things never work out the way you want. So I went down to 180. Still couldn't get them out. So I went down to 80. So it's pretty rough right now, and I've got most of the grain out. I gotta start working my way up. I'm about to hit it with 180 again and see if I can't start to get some of those scratches out and keep working my way up. Unfortunately, I didn't have any 6-inch 80, 180, 220 sandpaper, so of course I'm using the roll sandpaper, putting two pieces on there. It's able to cover the pad enough that I can keep moving on. You have to improvise. So here we go. Okay, so I just hit it with 180 and you can already tell the difference. I just did half of this top portion right here, and you can see it looks a little bit duller on this side, but you can see the big grain marks or the swirl marks from the 80 grit sandpaper. So we'll just keep on working our way up, and by the time we get, I'm hoping 400 to 600 grit sandpaper, it should look a lot different. So just stay tuned. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so I've started with 400 grit sandpaper. You can really tell the difference. The scratches aren't nearly as defined. I've done this top portion. You can see most of them are gone. There's a few pieces of where you can see a little bit of grain, but I got most of the grain where you're gonna see the tank the most. So I'll continue with 400, then I'll go to 600, 800. I may even hit 1,000. And then I'll start using the buffing wheel. So stay tuned. Okay, I'm still working my way around with 600. I still have to do a little bit of this end piece, and then I can move on to 800. You definitely have to change out your sandpaper a little faster, as this gets clogged up pretty quickly. Try and keep it so it's cutting good. So we'll keep moving on. So I've sanded this with 800 grit. It's already looking a lot better. Let's see if you guys can take a look. It's you can see a little bit more of a gloss coming off of it, a little bit more of a reflection. You can still see a little bit of the grain in there. This won't be seen as much as this in the back of the car. So I think it's going to work out pretty good. So tomorrow I'll come back and I'll grab the buffer. I grabbed a buffer, and it's going to be dual purpose for me to polish the tank out, and then also to cut and buff the paint on the car itself. So we'll see you tomorrow. It's the next morning, and it's time to get back to polishing the tank. I'm pretty excited about this process, or today, because this is where it's really going to start shining. I purchased a buffing kit, and I saw this on YouTube, the actual video on how to use this kit, and it seemed pretty simple. We're going to try it out and see if it works as well as advertised. It's called a Zephyr. There's super shine polishing kit, as you can see. It came with 3 different buffing wheels. It has a rough cut, medium, and then a final cut. It also came with the flanges that are used on your buffer to hold it in place. It came with 3 different rouges, rough, medium, and fine. Came with a metal polish and a wax, a cherry wax. So we'll try those out. The kit does not come with a rake, which you'll need to clean off your wheel, because the rouge actually almost looks like it burns on there, so you have to clean it up. Make sure you keep that clean. The buffer itself, that is a DeWalt. It got excellent reviews. This thing retails for, I believe it was close to $200. I believe I got it for $185 on Amazon, but I believe the price has gone up to a little over $200. The buffing kit, I believe it's up to about $95, and it was also on Amazon. So the buffer itself came with 2 different handles. This round handle, which I thought was pretty cool, so you can move it in different angles, and then a straight handle, and then also a pad that's a Velcro pad for, I guess, for polishing, which we'll use this on the Chevelle when we get to that point. The kit itself, with the instructions, it gave a range for each one of the pads, but all of the ranges included 3,000, so we're gonna put this up to 3,000, and we'll just use it for all 3 polishing pads. When we buff or polish, I'm going to try and run it against the grain of the metal, hopefully to knock down some of the ridges and smooth it out a little bit quicker. So let's get to buffing. Okay, make sure that you're wearing some safety equipment, some glasses, and definitely a mask. There's going to be so much stuff flying around. I'll use the rake, and we're going to cut the edges off first, and then we'll start putting on the rouge and polishing. All right, I'm still cutting with the brown rouge and the rough cut wheel, but you can already start to tell a difference. You can really see on the edges where it's really polishing up. I'll try and get you a better view, see if you can see that. You can actually see this is the original, because we're not polishing the tank, the top of the tank, of course, and you can see where this is just the first cut. So it's looking really good. I did notice on the sides, I mean, I'm getting a good reflection on the sides, but you can still see just a little bit of the swirl marks where I sanded, but when you step back a little bit, you really can't see them. It's shining up pretty good. I'm sure the
bottom of the tank is going to turn out a little bit better just because I spent so much time sanding that and trying to get out all the grain marks and the swirl marks. So we'll just continue on. Okay, I just got done with the medium cut pad, which is the purple pad. Took a little bit of time, and you also using the green rouge, but you can already see the results. It's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. You can still see some of the grain in it. I don't think we're going to be able to get that out, but I still have another cut to do with the final cut, and we'll see how that turns out. Stay tuned. Just got done with the white rouge and the white polishing pad. I'm now trying the perfect metal polish. Stuff seems to be going on pretty easy. You have to rub it on, your towel will turn black, and let it dry, and then you can remove the excess. So I'll continue with this, and then we'll see the finished product. All right, I removed the excess of the polish, and now you guys can see the results. So this is the top of the tank. I know you guys remember what it looks like, really dull, and you can already see the results on the side and on the bottom. I think it came out really well. I'm really happy with the results. You can see my head is distorting a little bit. That's from just the tank itself. I look like I'm in a fun house at a carnival. But anyway, let's get back. Yeah, the Zephyr kit, it worked out really well. I'm really happy with the results. I would use the kit again, but not anytime soon, as it did make a mess of my shop. So, like I said, everybody, is don't be afraid to try something new. This is new for me. The only thing you're going to waste is a little bit of time, maybe a little money, but mostly time. So it's really, really worth the effort. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like or subscribe or share it with your friends. And we will see you next week.